Okay, so here's the story. I'll read it exactly as it. What's fascinating is that this story is told by Chanoich Teller, is a Litvish storyteller, has many books. Here's the story. A young man by the name of Dovi came to his former rabbi's house, Rabbi Mishkovsky. And he came to invite him to his wedding. Rabbi Mishkovsky is very excited, and he hugs his student, and he opens the invitation, and he sees the name of the Kala. He says, "This is a Lubavitch family, no?" He says, "Yeah," says Dovi. He says, "Do me a favor," says Rabbi Mishkovsky, "ask your future mother-in-law if she ever received $1 from the Rebbe." So he reports back to Dovi later and says, "Yes, my mother-in-law told me she got $1 bill in Shvat of 5751, January of 1991. The rabbi hears this, he's taken aback, and he says to Dovi, "I have a story I want to tell you, and I want to say it at your Sheva Brachas, so please invite me." So at the last Sheva Brachas, this Rabbi Mishkovsky gets up to speak. And this is what he says. "After I got married, I was learning in yeshiva in Netanya, and I got involved in teaching some younger boys, younger bochrim, on the side. And I realized I'm seeing that a lot of young fellas are getting mixed up in the wrong things and getting, distance from Torah. And so I dedicated a lot of my time to befriending these bochrim, organizing classes for them. And eventually I opened up a center, kind of a yeshiva. I took on the financial obligations myself. It ended up taking over my whole life. So much so that my marriage began to suffer from it. My wife felt that I'd taken on responsibilities that were way over my head at the expense of my obligations to my family and my personal Torah learning. I felt I was saving lives. I didn't want to give it up. Time went on, nothing changes. There's this tension in the house. I'm involved in kiruv at all hours, and my wife is unhappy. So we decided one day we have to come up with some kind of plan going forward because we reached an impasse. So we went out to eat in the park one day near a waterfall to talk things out. As we were eating, I see something red tumbling down the falls. It looked to me like it might have been a child. So I immediately leapt to my feet, jumped into the water, suits, shoes and all, and lifted out a little girl coughing and gasping for air. My wife wrapped her up in a blanket and patted her until she spat out all the water. Then we walked up the road to see where she came from. We see a large family barbecue happening. The people that did not even realize that the little girl had wandered off and fallen in. The mother sees us coming. My wife is holding this kid, and she's screaming and running and hugging her daughter. She was so thankful. She took out her wallet and wanted to pay us. And I said, "I'm not taking any money." So then the mother of this girl pulls out what she told me was a very precious possession of hers. The $1 she once received from the Rebbe, which on it was written Shvat 5751. So this rabbi, again, his name is Mishkovsky. Let me just write. Mishkovsky, yeah. Pauses in his story, the Sheva Brachas, and he says, pulls out the $1. He says, "I'm the one that saved your daughter, who today is a Kala," which is why I wanted to come to the Sheva Brachas to share the story. The story isn't over. My wife said to me after this, we had gone there to discuss this whole matter. And she said, it's obvious what happened. And you got the Lubavitcher Rebbe's bracha and dollar. You saved this child and you got this dollar that you have to continue your work, which I did. We moved from Netanya to Yerushalayim, where I made a formal yeshiva in the suburbs for boys who needed a different approach. These are kids from families, but they need a different approach. And Dovi is my Talmud, as the beginning of the story told us. And one of my prized Talmidim, and how fitting it is that his words, he marries a girl that because of her, I made the yeshiva that he learned in. The crowd was awestruck, he says, and the rabbi thanked Hashem publicly for meriting being able to see the fruits of his labor. Now, the end, the truth, there's a note at the end. Chazi Posner, who I know, says, I know the story, happened with my sister. I'm not sure who the sister is, maybe the mother was the sister. Have a wonderful Shabbos, the Shabbos of the Kinnis HaShluchim, even though the Shluchim are physically not going back, but spiritually they are representing their communities. So it's a Shabbos of empowerment and bracha for all Klal Yisrael. Have a wonderful Shabbos.